Wish I could say the same about never using chatbots. My university professors require us to use AI for some assignments because the university wants to push AI literacy. Yeah, that sounds about right. A lot of universities have for a long time leaned further and further into the idea that the point of going to school is to get a degree and a job and not like to be intelligent or educated. So it's kind of, it fits, you know. Unfortunately, there's just no going back on this one. Using AI to assist in schooling, either as a professor or a student, is always going to make it easier, and it's basically undetectable at this point if you know what you're doing. So the only real incentive to not do so is if you really, really want, you know, the education, which most people don't give a shit about. The professors are using ChatGPT and some students aren't happy about it. Instructors say generative AI tools make them better at their jobs. Oh, I'm sure. And it literally rots your ability to problem solve. It makes you dumber. Yeah, I mean, there's already a bunch of data to that point, isn't there? With regard to like the critical thinking skills of people who habitually use AI. I think that to an extent you can make that argument for a lot of like computer assistance in your day-to-day. Like, you will develop an understanding of your city's layout much better if you don't use phone GPS, right? Like, if you just think in your head, like, okay, it's here, I will find it, and then you drive there, even if it takes longer, you will internalize that information much better. Of course, I do think there's kind of a slippery slope argument there, right? Like, maybe you'd be a little bit better at navigating in the long run if you don't use, you know, your phone's GPS, but it's probably not sapping that much critical thinking from your brain. That being said, outsourcing all of your decision-making to a generative AI probably is, right? It's, you know, probably a little worse. How many people in your audience do you think you'd use a physical map to navigate a major city or across the country? I don't know about you guys, but I was driving back when Thomas guides were still a required component in every road trip. So I'm familiar with, well, I haven't done it in a long time, but presumably I still could. Don't think I've lost those skills. The depressing thing is that AI can be amazing for learning if people took 5 seconds to ask why. I disagree. I don't think it's about how you engage with it. I think the technology is fundamentally brain rotting. Leaving aside the fact that AI often lies, which it does, presents, you know, biased information as though it's unbiased, whatever. It's just fundamentally like it's like saying that you can still get exercise even if you live in one of those like Wall-E fat person cruise ship chairs that feed you and like take you to the shower and stuff, as long as you just know how to use it. Like, I don't think that's true. I think the difficulty of accessing information in a lot of cases kind of, you know, it's how you internalize it. Writing notes helps you retain information better than typing notes, which certainly helps you more than like AI generating notes, you know? Are there any other technologies that are fundamentally brain rotting like AI? I mean, I just think that outsourcing thinking in general means you use your brain less, right? AI just does that so much more thoroughly and worse than other kinds of technology. But presumably you could make that argument for a lot of things. We do use our phones too much. But you got to draw a line somewhere. Miss Stapleton decided to do some digging. She reviewed her professor's slide presentations and discovered other telltale signs of AI: distorted text, photos of office workers with extraneous body parts, and egregious misspellings. She was not happy. Given the school's cost and reputation, she expected a top-tier education. This course was required for her business minor. Its syllabus forbade academically dishonest activities, including the unauthorized use of AI or chatbots. Tells us not to use it, but then he's using it himself. Nice, nice. In a national survey of more than 1,800 higher education instructors last year, 18% described themselves as frequent users of generative AI tools. Jesus. Do you see harm in using it as a second opinion? Yes, I think it's demon tech. I don't think it should be used for any reason whatsoever. I don't think it should be used for jokes. I don't think it should be used in any way, shape, or form. I think it's fundamentally socially corrosive. 72% lied. Rosie, maybe you could have asked Grok whether or not 18 and 72 add up to 100 before typing that. 10% don't use computers? Saved. Ugh, whatever. This isn't even what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about this. Republicans propose prohibiting U.S. states from regulating AI for 10 years. So in case you were wondering whether or not anything was going to change on the AI front, Is that even something they can do? They can do whatever they want. A provision in the proposed budgetary bill now before the House of Representatives would prohibit any state or local governing body from pursuing, quote, any law or regulation regulating artificial intelligence models, artificial intelligence systems, or automated decision systems, unless the purpose of the law is to, quote, remove legal impediments to facilitate the deployment or operation of these systems. What would stop a future president from undoing that? Well, it's a congressional bill, so it's not really up to the president, but, you know. Also, president? You think we're getting a president in the future? Chancellor, maybe. The bill defines AI systems and models broadly, with anything from facial recognition systems to generative AI qualifying. This is what happens when the Republican Party's been more or less completely captured by Silicon Valley, or maybe vice versa. I don't know. Many of these automated decision-making systems have recently come under fire. The deregulatory proposal comes on the heels of a lawsuit filed by several state attorneys general, against the property management software RealPage, which the lawsuit alleges colluded with landlords to raise rents based on the company's algorithmic recommendations. So what? You just plug in like the stats on your tenants, and it's like, well, they're white, and you know, this is their facial phrenology. They've got like straight front upper teeth, so they probably benefited from dental care as a child. I'd say you could probably raise the rent $200 a month in them, something like that. Just a reminder, they're pro-pedophilia because the AI porn. Son of a bitch, you're right. Would this prevent states from legislating against AI-generated sexual abuse material? Or would that be covered by like a different thing? Like, would laws against that fit under like a broader criteria? Like, okay, maybe AI is protected, but this follows under like a sex crime thing? Republicans would never introduce laws against that? Yeah, probably. I mean, it kind of seems like they're protecting it. I don't know. It's basically price fixing between landlords with the excuse that they're not because the software told them what to charge. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, price fixing between landlords in most cases can't be done, or for legal reasons, right? There's like, you know, rules against that. So instead of them directly colluding, you have an AI that's like, hey, I think your rent should be wink this amount, and it's doing that to effectively like create collusion between landlords without direct contact. Cool. It is kind of insane how civilization is completely collapsed. Yeah, you ever think about that? It goes beyond like evil corporations, because evil corporations have been around longer than capitalism. I mean, you want to go back to the East India Trading Company or what? Like, sure, okay. But it goes beyond that. Like, it's like civilizationally ruinous stuff on every level, and the people who are in power like it, not just when it benefits them, but like as a matter of principle when other people get hurt by it. Here's an article on that rent price fixing thing. One company's algorithm could be why. Nice. Genuinely, like, how can you be a liberal when you wake up every morning and there are 50,000 new horrors and all of them are caused by corporate profit seeking? Even the stuff the Republicans are doing stems from that. Either the class divide gives them the enormous wealth that they need to buy elections or influence public opinion through their, their media channels, or like all of these, like the regulatory issues, everything being like rapidly pulled back, and all of it is from fundamentally the same power source, right? I have no idea. They just say it's corruption and move on. I guess so. Yeah, you have to like not identify the central problem. You have to like look at all this and go like, listen, it's not capitalism. It's just a coincidence that every single one of these problems can be traced back to the class divide between the workers and the owners, basically. Like, it always comes back down to this interest divide, you know? But it's a coincidence. This is exactly what was happening in the debate between Sam Cedar and Ezra Klein. Klein's such a retard, man. Perfect example of why, like, you all those abundance liberal motherfuckers, every single one of them, were just looking for another way to save face while being smarmy about lefties. All of that was the only point. They're doing the same kind of like frenetic rebranding that the alt-right was doing back 5 years ago, where they keep getting embarrassed between one term to another. So they're like, no, listen, okay? what we need in society is abundance liberalism. And then they write a book about it. And the book is about how we need to not listen to the left and also have like austerity. Where's the abundance? It's ridiculous. Neoliberal ghouls. I don't even know if people like that are neoliberal. I just think they're reflexively contrarian. Most neoliberals, like neoliberal economists, for example, right now are like, they have like altars in their house where they're praying to God, like, please God, let the lightning bolt strike, you know? Most neoliberals and liberals broadly right now are like pretty joker pilled at this moment, right? They're pretty, they understand where we are, like in a broader sense. They're going through it. But then there's this, like, the specific subcategory of like liberal grifter, where their only job is to explain to people how any development, any change in the world means that we have to stop listening to the left and apply, you know, more big tent politics that somehow exclude them. Whatever, I'm complaining about abundance liberals, which is also not what the segment is about. The new language is in line with the Trump administration's actions that aim to remove any perceived impediments to AI development. Upon taking office, Trump immediately revoked a Biden administrative executive order that created safety guardrails for the deployment and development of AI. Silicon Valley has long held that any regulation stifles innovation, and several prominent members of the tech industry either joined or backed the U.S. president's campaign. Yeah, we know this. Anyway, this is insane and evil. So it's probably going to pass. So have fun with that, I guess. Have fun with your rent spiking for reasons your landlord can't articulate. Dems will vote for it too. Well, it's being attached to a budget bill. It might be attached to future budget bills as well. So you can expect that pork barrel bullshit to carry it with any bill that might get passed. Are they trying to make the budget bill fail? I mean, it goes through on reconciliation, right? It kind of seems like they can do what they want, as long as they muster all the votes they need. Which admittedly, you know, they're having some trouble with, but God only knows how long that'll last. A bunch of Republican senators are out. And yeah, I know they say that. We'll see. And they could still attach this to a future budget bill.